and good afternoon to one and all. My name is Chaya Iyer, Deputy Director, Teachers Training Cell, Parul University. I extend a very sincere and warm welcome to all of you today in this webinar. Teachers are the second parent of students and have a strong influence on them. It is very important that being a teacher, we must understand how to be relevant in their development process and shape their future. For that, we need to know them perfectly. In today's TTC webinar, we will talk about decoding young minds. Sounds interesting, isn't it? So, we are here today to understand the young generation's thought process. This will help us definitely to open the doors to two-way communication with our students. For this, we have invited truly magnificent person, a very energetic, in fact, passionate person, Miss Asmani Surve. Presently, she is a management consultant with Skynotch Group. She is postgraduate in human resources development. She is a postgraduate in human resources management, did her diploma in Gita. She is a certified lead auditor ISO 2091, 2001, certified coach for neuro logistic programming, certified professional life coach, certified cognitive behavior coach, and a certified She has been in the field of training, talent development, self management, and management consulting for more than 18 years. Aswani Madam, I welcome you on behalf of Parul University. So I want you to enlighten our teachers regarding how to decode the young brains.
So first of all, thank you so much, Ms. Chaya. It is my pleasure to be here today, and definitely I am excited to share my views about how to decode the young mind. And I am thankful to Parul University for giving me this platform to interact with the teachers here. And as I rightly mentioned, and you said it, is parents and teachers. So teachers are second parents of every kid who is coming in their life. And for teachers, it's even more challenging because every year there is a new batch which comes to them. So I sometimes say that teacher has way more experience of parenting than a parent themselves because they have only one child to take care for a couple of years till the child is not independent. But teacher every year has a dependent child, and for child that teacher is new every year, so that teacher has to build a rapport with his kids, and by the time everything starts falling in place, it's time to get a new batch. So that's extremely challenging on teachers' part that they have to keep every year challenging their own skills. So for teachers, it's an journey of learning along with teaching is what I feel, and they are doing a tremendous job. Particularly, I'm sure in this COVID, all teachers have undergone so much of transformation themselves. And I would like to mention that I have a son who's 8 years old, and I have seen his school teachers dealing with them online, how they started, and today the way they have evolved on this online platform is marvelous. So yes, teachers are doing a great work as in every child's life, and sometimes I say they are even more than parents today, right? So with that, we can begin with my session, and if we can share the presentation screen, I would like to have everybody introspect a bit with the first screen that I want to share with. So Chaya ma'am.
Yeah, I request all the participants to be active, and if you have any question in your mind, you can just write in the comment box of your Facebook account. Definitely, I'll put that in front of Madam. So, Madam, I'm going to mute myself so that there should not be any disturbance, and then
Sure.
I'll share my screen.
Sure ma'am. Thank you. Yes. So, as we all know, we are going to talk about decoding the young mind. And with that, I want to go to my first slide and just look at this picture that is coming up, and just talk to yourself and think what can you see in that particular picture. So, as you can see, there are two faces. I'm sure some would have now already identified. If you see, you can see a duck which is facing behind, and you can see a rabbit too. So a lot of time, we either see a duck or we either see a rabbit. And even if we get to see both these things, we try to focus on either of it. It is very difficult for us to focus on both the sides. Similarly, it's with every personality. It's a very good saying in English that every coin has two sides, and so does every person has two sides. We all in day-to-day basis, as an individual, do a lot of internal conversation. It might be just, if you're driving alone, you will be talking to yourself, somebody's driving something, somebody's doing something, or you may always have this subconsciously going in your head that I have to reach somewhere, and so your physical being is very much driving the vehicle, but your mental being is constantly working on a thought process. So if I have to say, not two side of personalities, but these are two personalities. One is the physical and one is the mental. And the mental personality drives us the most. So the physical is more when we are in pain or we are in discomfort, is when our physical personality drives us. But the mental personality is the major personality that drives every individual. How we feel, how we think, how we want to respond, even if the five senses, how they work, is how our responses are driven. So, what we see, what we smell, what we eat, so what we taste, what we touch, and what we hear. So, these five basic fundamental senses that we have drive the way we think or we react or we respond in our day to day basis. Similarly, it happens with our students also. So let's try to know a little more about them in the next slide, about how we feel about them. So when I have heard teachers and parents complaining about it, so I consider these are the challenges that teachers ongoingly face with the students. And as ma'am rightly mentioned before, if you have any more challenges that you feel beyond this list, you can also mention it in the chat box. I will be happy to answer them. So, taking one by one here, the first is being stubborn. I have heard a lot of times teachers say that no matter how much we tell the students that you need to study this or there is a revision that has to be done, but they will do what they like. So, irrespective of the teacher constantly kind of following up or mentioning these are your weak areas, you should study, or maybe if you want to participate in an extracurricular activity, look for your passion, go explore your passion. But students would only do if they want to do. And here I would want every person here on this platform today to go back to your teens, your young age, or maybe your early adult. That as an adult also, we always used to feel that we should be allowed to do what we like to do and not what we are asked to do. You know, we have this very critical thing in our brain which is called as a no. The moment there is the word no is when our human instincts want to do it. So this is a very, very key for anybody to understand a person, that do not use words like don't do it, you should not do it, I don't like it, try not to do it. So the moment you say no, the brain is functions in such a way that it would be curious, why am I asked not to do it? And to fulfill that curiosity is when the person will like to disobey you. And this is when it comes about lack of discipline. So the moment one you say that no matter what we say, they don't do it. So in a way, you have already judged them that they don't do it. Now, why they don't do it is because you ask them to do. So it's going to be always a reverse functionality. And then because they don't obey you, you feel they don't respect you, they don't like you, they don't have a discipline. हमारे ज़माने में तो हमारे पेरेंट्स हमें ऐसा कहते थे तो हम कर देते थे, right? Even as I said, I have an 8-year-old. Sometimes I tend to do this, and I do it deliberately in front of my mother. I will tell him that see अगर यहाँ मेरी तुम्हारी नानी होती मेरी मम्मी होती तो मुझे यहाँ ऐसे डांट पड़ती, right? So I'm trying to set an example in front of my mother as well as my son. But how good is it doing on their programming of mind is something we need to first understand before we make any such kind of actions or statements. I'm just going to keep talking today about their psychology, how their psychology is built, how they feel, how they think. And when I say how, the first question that comes to me is why they do it. So, till we don't know the why, we will not be able to know how. So, if I want to think how my son is going to react to my response, my question to myself should be why do I need to say this thing in front of my son? The moment I'll question myself, I am definitely going to have a good thought of what I'm going to say. And so is with teacher. So the moment the teacher is there and the student is there, a teacher nowadays have changed a lot from uh, the ruler teacher to a friendly teacher, which is a very good thing and a very big transformation that has come. At the same point of time, students still go back and talk to their friends about their problems. They are not coming and talking to teachers about their problems, or even sometimes they are more friendly to talk to their tuition teachers or maybe their guides, their mentors, more than in comparison to the subject teacher. Why is it so? Is a question that every teacher should ask. What is stopping these students from coming to you and asking the same doubt which they're asking either to their friends or they're asking it to their mentor? The answer is very simple. It's the comfort level that they feel with the friends or with the mentors. Now, not necessarily that every teacher is a problem, you know, but there is a program that has got fixed here in some past instances where the child feels that teachers are not going to address my problem. So you have to first undo that thought and make your own impression. So you need to first talk to the child that why that person is not coming and talking to you for the problem. Again, there comes the technology busy. You will always say that the person is busy in either gadgets or they are distracted. So when you are talking to them or when you are trying to understand from them, they are more busy looking at their phones or they are more busy replying to Facebook or social media or WhatsApp or whatsoever, right? So to that, I always tell people around is as parents, I'm sure teachers are not allowed for their phones and gadgets in the class and during the office work hours. But as parents, what are their parents doing home? Today, the major problem as we see online in mental depression, maximum mental problems are coming with an age group of 19 years. Why is this case? YMCA has published a survey which says that 19 years, their observation is every day there is an increase in mental issues because these students have different kind of pressure. Now people will say these pressures are their own invited ones, but you cannot ignore. I have a friend of mine whom I met yesterday, and he was mentioning to me that till 12th standard I did not give my son mobile phone, and now since they started going to college, I give them phone because it is important and the application for college is there and this and that. But now we have lost him completely because he's whole day lost in the mobile. Again, the question comes here is why. The why answer as for me is They don't find somebody to talk to. If they are coming home, either their father is on work, definitely, which is a very obvious thing. Their mother is busy either in households, or if somebody is a working mother, they are out working. And most of the days nowadays, they don't have siblings. So what happens is they look for their friends, and not necessarily every friend is a good influence. So eventually, what happens is you will restrict that person to go out, talk to people because they are not a good influence. This age is vulnerable, you will get easily wrongly influenced. So please focus yourself on studies. In studies, they are closed in a room, and eventually, you say that when they are closed in a room, they are more busy with the mobile phone. Right? So this is how the whole circle of constant thought process is going towards technology. They find the same comfort more online than the comfort that was given home. That's why they are more interested in talking to people outside. In coming sessions, I'll talk more about how wrong parents, how wrong the external environment is going, that we are facing more challenging with the younger minds. But right now, to continue with the challenges of parents and teachers, the fourth one comes is immature. See again, you are not good enough, you don't know anything. How can you make your own decisions? You want to take a career decision, you want to become a doctor. You don't know a doctor what it is. You should become a doctor, you should not become a painter, you should not become an artist. You know, you are an immature person, you don't know how the world works around. And if some parents are nice these days also, that they understand, they are very empathetic, and they do allow their kids to pursue their passion. But when I say that, how much a parent is actually putting an effort to take that child to those practices, how much actual interest that parent is taking in the interest of the child. But you always expect that the child should take interest in your interest, but you are not taking interest in their interest. So you are setting a very wrong example, and you are then telling that they are immature, because whatever a child is or a human is, I would say, is purely based on the environment they are in. Either it can be their family, it can be their neighbors, it can be their teachers, it can be their friends, it can be their siblings, it can be their sibling friends. All is they pick up from there. When we get a child, newborn child, that person is zero. They don't have any prints on their mind. All the prints are made based on how they are treated, how they are living, how they are being made to feel. The more you make them feel dependent, they are going to be more dependent. Lot of parents I have seen that even in 10th standard, 11th standard, the parents will go and drop the kids to school, saying that it is very unsafe to send with the driver, it is very unsafe to send in the rickshaw, it's very unsafe to send in the vans nowadays that has come. The drivers drive so rash, so rough. The kids don't listen to the driver. They keep the doors open. They keep the windows open. How will you ensure safety of the child? But here I always tell, go back and live your younger time. Your generation also had different challenges. Your parents were also struggling through it, but they never stopped you from that freedom. They never stopped you because you were not safe. They taught you, they educated you. So before you telling they are immature or they can't make their decisions, just sit with them, talk to them. Okay, you want to pursue something or you want to go to a party, fine, go to a party. Who all are going to come to that party? Okay, X, Y, Z, A, B, C people are coming. Okay. So you know these X, Y, Z people are not a good influence. Okay. I understand they're your friend, and it's absolutely normal that you want to go with your friend. But then don't try to be more with XYZ. Try to be more with ABC. Try to be more with PQR. Okay. You try to make them understand what you want to tell. Just telling don't go to a party. Good kids don't go to party. Good kids don't drive rash. Good kids don't get here. Educate them. Till you don't make them independent, they will be immature. So you need to address this immaturity problem as teachers in a more parent manner. That when you feel a child is going wrong somewhere, how are you going to address? You need to first understand if they have got that conducive environment wherein their parents have educated, or it is something which the teacher will have to get to that level. So teacher, as a subject teacher, if you feel that student is extremely strong in science and the first student should pursue future career in there, it is more for you to discuss with the student that okay, I understand science has tremendous studies, science will have hard work, you don't want to do hard work, but then these are your career options. And if you pick up anything beyond science, your strength lies in science, you will have to struggle there. So after you making them aware about goods and bads about the same decision, then you have made them mature enough to make that decision. You have given them the independence to make that decision. Eventually, any decision which is taken by our own wish, we either regret it ourselves or we learn to live with that decision. Then you don't have this because my parents asked me I did this, or because my teacher pushed me I did this. Not required. Give, empower them with that information so that they can take their own decision, and they will always respect you in future. I just keep every time confessing this in whichever sessions I come across. As a child, I used to hate reciting shlokas. My mother will, my nanny will make me sit in the evening. No, no, you have to recite this shlokas. You have to read this. You have to learn this. And I used to be getting so agitated. Why? I don't want to do it. Why? And that time we didn't have that exposure. So our adult sisters and brothers used to say, यार भगवान तो दिल में होता है ये पता नहीं मम्मी क्यों बैठा के ये श्लोका पढ़ाती है okay. So these are all the thoughts that used to come to us. But today I really thank my seniors, my adults, that they made me sit and do it because it gives me an immense happiness when I am in a trouble and when I even just pick up one shloka and read it and I try to just evaluate what that shloka means. It gives me an inner peace because that shloka is not going to judge me anything. If I'm going to say a wrong shloka, ऊपर से भगवान आके मुझे कोपने नहीं वाले हैं. So eventually I'm more happy because I know that shloka. So I did not realize then, but today I realize why it was done. But this thing is not going to work with the new generations anymore. The new generation wants logic in everything. The new generation wants to know why. The new generation wants to know that what will I get if I will do this. Right? So even in the face of God, they say चमत्कार होगा तो ही नमस्कार होगा वरना हमसे तो नहीं होगा. Right? So we have to give them those answers and then they will believe it. I have seen because as mentioned by ma'am, I have done my diploma in Bhagavad Gita and I'm doing a degree now. In my class, there are as small as 13-year kids. And believe me, these 13-year-old kids teach me a lot about how to look at God. They just give you a great transformation of thought that you should not look at a person as a person. You should look at that person as a life. The moment you look at that as an energy, source of energy, your whole judgment vanishes off and you look that person as a tremendous potential. That person can do anything. Now this comes to me from a 13-year-old. So you can imagine that immaturity is nothing but just our perception because they are not empowered with that. Right? Then is lack of ambition. They are laid back. They don't want to do anything. They just want to sit and look at the computer. They just want to sit and play games in the phone. They just want to sit and play video games. But I want to let all teachers and parents look into it that video game is such a big industry and this industry is completely driven by science rules because video game requires coding at backend and software engineers make these video games. So people who love video games and if they want to pursue in video games, we should encourage them. We should encourage them to explore the opportunities, how they can pursue it, instead of discouraging them that video games are not good, it is just an addiction. Uh, Again, making them aware that how video games are good, how video games are bad, how video games help you to improve your observation skills, and how video games are making your eyes bad. So everything in a regulated manner is the best thing to do. So this is an education that we need to give to our younger kids today. Because the moment we keep saying a no, 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 they are going to be more curious to do it. They are going to be more rebellious not to listen to you because they don't see that you understand them. They constantly feel that you are just here to regulate them, you're just here to rule on their thoughts. But they don't understand that there is a good side to whatever you are telling. I'll tell you, as we say in NLP, that there is a neurological pathways that are created, and I do it every day with my son. And I'm doing it for last at least 7 years because since he now understands, I always tell him, "Oh, you want to eat this? Oh yes, I want to eat burger. How did you know I want to eat burger? Oh, I am your mother. I know everything. But do you think eating burger is the best thing for you? I know even my teacher tells that junk food is not good to eat, but I like to eat burger, mummy. Okay, no problem. You can eat burger, but you first finish your vegetable and roti." Now, this is a very childish example, and for Parallel University students, it may not be the best relevant example here. But what I'm trying to say is, he remembers two things very well because I keep repeating it. Is one, your mother knows everything. So he knows that if he needs an advice, he has to come to his mother. And he knows that my mother, if I keep telling him as a child, when you were not able to even talk to people, when you're just crying, tone used to tell me you're hungry or you're sleepy or you want to change. So your mother knows everything about you. You need an advice, come to your mother. Okay? Because nowadays we can only keep our kids safe by knowing what they are doing. If they hide anything from you, you will not know what they are doing. So the only way to keep them safe is knowing what they're doing. And for that, you have to create that value for yourself. You have to create that trust with each other. When I come across some counseling sessions, I'll tell you how parents also make it difficult. I come through a counseling session. The student was in 10th standard, and the mother was so pissed off that the student is lazy. He doesn't do anything. Whole day he just sits on his bed. He just keeps telling me I'm reading, but he's not reading. He doesn't put his towel in place. He will eat in the bed. He will keep the plate near the bed. He will not keep the plate back in the kitchen. And then I had to counsel this student. And believe me, the student said that, "Ma'am, when I was actually keeping the plate in the kitchen, my mother never told me that I am doing a good job. But when I did not do it, my mother said I'm lazy. When I put my towel to dry, she never said you did a good job. But when I did not, she said I am lazy. So why should I do it? I am a lazy." Now he has accepted that he's lazy. So this is how our commands, a very basic discussion on every day-to-day basis, are dealing, makes an impact on the mind of the younger ones because they are influenced by you. They look forward for things from you, and when you don't add that value, they don't want to continue with you. They don't find that relationship with you. Right? And with that, the last challenge that have been mentioned to me is they are not social. Again, a more relation to the uh, phone and technology and gadgets, that they like to be more in their rooms, more online, more in the virtual world. They don't like to meet family. Even when adults come, they will not come out of the room. So all these things, why is the question again? Because when adults come, they'll come and give them all gyan, and they don't want the gyan. They want to be more felt like an adult. Any child after 13 years wants to be felt like an adult, even if they are not grown mentally that much, but they still want to be felt like an adult. Now, if you make that person feel like a 6 year or 7 year old, that person would not enjoy your company. So this is something why that makes them non-social. And that's why they feel that the virtual world has much more to offer, much more value. They like them the way they are and they don't want to be changed. That's why they get more unsocial with family and friends, and they get more social on gadgets in the virtual world. Right? So if there are any more challenges which I have not addressed here, people can write in the chat box, and I can keep covering it in my further coming slides. And with that, I would like to come to my next slide, when I'm going to talk about expectation is judgmental and acceptance is inclusiveness. Right? So when I say this, how often do we expect things from our family members? Right? And the moment we are expecting anything from them, we are judgmental. Recently, Karwa Chauth has gone, and which is something which is very okay with all male and female teachers. So a female would have expected that the husband will give me something because I did fast for him. Now, did husband ask you to fast for him? The first question from me is no. Then why are you expecting? And all right, you expected something. Did you express it? No, you did not express it. Now, because the husband has not got it back home in the evening, you are unhappy, or if he has got something which you like, you are happy. Just either of the cases, but you are judgmental. You have judged your husband or your happiness based on what he has got for you, right? And it's the same case with men. So either the man is getting some gift based on how their experience in past has been. So again, an expectation that was fulfilled or not fulfilled in the past, and something he is thinking that I'll make my wife happy. So there is a programming in his mind that if I have to make my wife happy, I need to give her a gift. Right? So these are things that we have made people believe that gifts make you happy. You know? And then we also complain that my child has become materialistic. They don't care how much I love them. All they care is what gifts we give them. So this is the kind of an example you set in front of your child at home. Be it Teachers' Day celebration or be it any celebration happening in college. Even as a child, the parents would have told the child, make a greeting card, very nice greeting card for your madam, and she will be happy. So even if you as a teacher today has not asked for anything materialistically, but the child as a very small one thinks that giving a greeting card to teacher will make the teacher happy. The parent there failed to make them realize that the efforts that the child has put in to make that greeting card is making the teacher happy and not the greeting card itself. Hence, we have to learn to accept them. So the moment expectation and acceptance are two sides of the same coin. When we expect, we become judgmental because based on how our expectations are settled, we judge the other person. And when we accept the person as they are, it's the time when you tell the person, welcome. You are equally welcome in my world. I understand what you are saying. You give me, you don't give me. I am very much here. Right? Hence, acceptance is inclusiveness. The moment you accept them, you are including them in your life, and they make felt that yes, they are welcome. So teachers and parents need to always take care of this. That when you express your expectation, that child you need to bring A plus grade because you have the potential. Rather tell them that I know you're working extremely hard, and irrespective of what grades you are going to bring, I know your hard work will result well. No? This is just a different language, but the command that goes in the subconscious mind makes very, very big difference. Right? And with that, now we come to the younger generation challenges. Till here, we have known what our challenges are and why they are. Now let's look at their challenges. Because whatever they are behaving is because of the way they are getting what they are getting from the world. Right? So it's a responsive mechanism that human works on rather than proactive mechanisms. And this session today is going to talk about being proactive, of how we can be proactive about these aspects, know them better, so that we can respond them better. Right? So these are the top listed survey-based struggles that a young generation today faces. Right? And you may be surprised that 30% of the generation today is extremely worried about their career problems, because it can be pandemic, because it can be the amount of opportunities that are offered, it is because of the uncertainties, not only today but even 2 years before. But they are worried, which says they are not laid back, which says they don't lack ambition, which says that they do care about their parents, their teachers, their impression, their themselves. They are self responsible. So coming on to their struggles, which are listed, is performance pressure. I'm just right now reading this, and we will take one by one in the few further slides. So performance pressure, it can be about studies, it can be about activities. Then is lack of time, because time is 24 hours with everybody. Nobody is less time, nobody has more time. And there are students who are outstandingly performing, there are students who are extremely poor in performance. So everybody has the same amount of time, but they have much more to do in comparison to the time. We also had 24 hours when we were kids, and we had different things to do, and they have 24 hours in time and they have much more things to do. So they need guidance of what all they need to do. Family issues are there. Earlier, parents' fights were rare in front of us. Nowadays, there is no boundaries when parents are fighting. Trust in a relationship, the way they get to see surroundings, is the way they believe about relationship. Then there are situational struggles, only virtual connection. In pandemic, people had maximum virtual connection. They did not had much of physical connections with people, so that also makes a lot of impact on the thought process. Virtual life versus real life. The narrations, what they think and what actually are sometimes very different. Virtual learning versus classroom learning, their challenges in terms of learning, focus, distractions, we will talk, and too much of information. Right? So I call this generation a Google generation. So it is too much of information with them, and they don't know how to actually absorb all this, or what to absorb, what not to absorb. So with that, let's come to the first struggle, that is performance pressure. So there generally a kid will have two types of pressure. One is the family pressure, and other is the external pressure. The external pressure can be social pressure, the external pressure can be teachers, the external pressure can be peer pressure, how somebody is performing, how they are not performing. To that, I also want to mention that YMCA, again a Young Management Council, has said that 39% of, sorry, 52% of people are conscious about how they look. In our times, we never used to give a damn of how we were looking. So we never used to give a damn if we are getting tan in sun, or we are sweating, or we are having dirty hands. We never used to give a damn about all these things. But nowadays it is important. Why? That's the peer pressure. That's how we have made them think that looking good is, well, presentation, it's the best thing to do to hide your flaws, is what they think. So they constantly think, if I look good, all my flaws are hidden. Even if I don't know answer, and if I'm looking good, my teacher is going to pass. This is not going to be the case, isn't it? So there are different kinds of pressure that kids are going today, which we never had. So these pressure can be performance in terms of what parents' expectations are. It can be also sometimes, तुम्हारे भाई ने देखो क्या किया है. Look at that neighbor's son, what they are doing. Look at what you are doing. When I was you, I was doing this. Why you have to give comparison? Why you have to build that pressure? Just tell a child that last semester this was your result. Why can't you make better? Every time you have to get better. Is even a simple way of telling to improve the performance. But we put the pressure by giving them social and self examples. Even in class, teachers does that. I so do not like this grading system, first, second, third in the class, because this gives so much of inferiority complex to the students who are below. But competition is always good. Now, how to run the healthy competition is something our education policy needs to look at. But competition has to stay without making anyone feel inferior or any different kind of pressure, right? So pressure, performance pressure, it can be in activities. Nowadays, students are being pushed to do play also. They're asked to learn music also. They're asked to study also. So many things, but not sure if they're good at even one thing. So that's the pressure that makes their performance poor. Then is challenges. The again is the family challenge, as I mentioned. There are typical families sometimes. There is so much of internal competition in the family due to which they struggle. Then there are financial problems. The students are constantly under the pressure of some financial issues in the house. There are quarrels in the family. There are parents who are used to abuse substance. They would be angry, they can't manage their anger, they are constantly insulted at house, the way they are dealt at house we don't know. The family culture of violence can also be there. There can be single parents, separated parents. So in the process of separation, you don't know what kind of mental torture the child would have gone through. And then definitely an incomplete family, which is, I call it more of technological family, where parent is working somewhere abroad, mother is alone here, and she doesn't understand much of English. She doesn't understand much of what education the child is even doing, and the child doesn't have any family support back home. So all these kinds of different family issues are also available at child's house, and I believe one or the other is always there in nowadays time. So as a teachers, it is very very important for us to understand that what student has in back of their mind, what kind of backgrounds they are coming from, what kind of pressures they are coming from, how are they going to handle this? Are they capable of handling this along with studies? With that, the next set of challenge that we have is about revealing themselves. You know, so as we can see in this image, that they are not very comfortable coming and talking to people. Why they are not comfortable? Because they are more trust conscious. They have trust issues. That if I tell somebody, somebody will judge me, and with that they create so much of internal pressure on their mind that sometimes when they get a chance to express something, they blast out because they are not given that opportunity to talk. So when they get the opportunity, either it is just a volcano which blasts out, or it is more of a something which is lack of trust. And these trust issues happen from childhood. These trust issues can happen due to family issues. These trust issues can happen even in the school also, college also, anywhere. So they are not able to trust. They have different kind of commitment issues, that if I do any kind of commitment, I'm not talking about relationship commitments here, but in terms of, even they are not sure that can I be committed to science or I can be committed to commerce, can I devote myself to something, and what will happen if I fail. So they have major trust issues with themselves. They don't trust their own self that they can do something on these sides. Right? With that, we come to the next challenge, and that is the challenge of virtual connection. They are dealing with multiple cultures, they are dealing with multiple age groups, they are dealing with multiple different kind of thoughts. A person sitting at one room can talk to somebody in US, in Australia, in Nigeria, in Brazil, in India, in China, anywhere in this world today. And the more cultural exposure that they are getting, it is good, because that is helping them to know what the world has to offer. At the same point of time, there are good and bad influences too. So if somebody unincidentally get in touch with some drug dealer, they may end up having some same kind of a thought process. And there is no control on the virtual world. How are you going to control? And when you have to control this, it is more when they come and tell you what they are doing. That's why I said their safety always lies when they come and tell you what they are doing. Even if they come and tell you very simple conversation, I was talking to some XYZ in Brazil and that person is doing so and so, you would immediately be able to catch it that this person may not be a good influence. But if you tell the person, don't talk to that person, it is not the right way of dealing with the situation. You have to make them realize that if this person ever talks to you about these things, you need to be alert. Be friend to them. They are nobody to be enemies with. Try to be good friends to them, but don't pick up things which are not good for you. So the moment you say don't talk, it is also not good, but you tell them that you only talk which makes sense to you. Don't talk to things that don't make sense. So the virtual world has given them a tremendous exposure, and they sometimes are not able to regulate their own exposure levels. So we need to help them, guide them what kind of regulations they need to have. So they are the challenges that they face every day. Then the challenge is about virtual versus reality. This is where the look comes in picture. Why they are so highly conscious about how they look. Because the Instagram filters, there are so many photo editors, there are so many video editors, there are so many different kinds of applications that are available to these kids that they make them look excellent. But when you actually look them in person, they are way too different. So that makes them feel that no, what I am trying to show is how I should look, and that's why they are extremely look conscious. But how about somebody who is not gifted by God with good looks? Is that person any less? No, that person is no less. But that person lives in that inferiority complex. That's the struggle that they go through. They have done nothing wrong, but they are perceived wrong just because how they look. At the same point of time, the virtual reality is about video games, the virtual reality about, it's a very simple example today. Even if you go and check in a hotel and you want to book a hotel, you would first go and check on the website. 80% of times, the rooms that you will get to see on the hotel website will not be the same as you will actually see when you go there. So the virtual reality versus the reality is very different, which this younger generation is suffering because they are not able to analyze which should they believe in. So that will be another struggle that they have. Again, they need our support to understand what the reality is. Even if the reality is not exactly the way the virtual reality is, learn to accept the way it is. Now you have taken the decision, learn to accept that decision, learn to live that decision fully. Right? And then we have on the next real challenge with the students, that is distraction. So many gadgets, so many platforms, so many ways, but we need to make them realize that as WhatsApp is good for friend chatting, YouTube is excellent to explore new videos about how the world is. If they see Facebook as an excellent way to work up on relationships across boundaries, how Instagram teaches you to be a very good photographer, how you can have more followers. We as an adult may find it foolish, crazy. That what is the meaning of having 10,000 followers and million likes and all these things? But there is a whole set of generation who believes in this. They are getting appreciation there. They are finding their passion in this. So even if you see it as a distraction or the distraction is there, definitely there. You even today, if I am working at my office and if I'm making something on my email and I get on WhatsApp, I am tempted to go and check that message. Every human being is curious, and any kind of an alert messages will always help us. So when I'm working on something more concentration oriented, I just put my phone on silent mode because I don't want any distraction. So as an adult, if we are not able to put ourselves off those distractions, it is very unlikely for us to expect them to be away from distraction. So we need to just tell them that use, watch TV, watch videos, but watch something more relevant, watch something which will give you more knowledge. And let me tell you, friends, I call this generation Google generation is just because of that. I'll give you an example in one of my next slides. So moving on to the next challenge. The next challenge is about strength. Now these are challenges of us. These are challenges of teachers. These are the strengths that we fail to see in them. Right? So the first is the communication. They know they will put projects on WhatsApp. That's the communication level. We never had that communication level. Today, my child every day finishes his homework and he clicks the picture and he sends it to his teacher. We never had the liberty of that communication. I'm talking about an 8-year-old doing this. So the amount of communication exposure that they have is just way too beyond our strength. My son teaches mobile to his grandparents. That's the technological advantage that we have. But we just focus on how it is negative. We fail to focus on how is it positive. If his grandparents have any kind of a video Zoom call, he is sitting beside them so that he can help them communicate better with his friends. We need to look at these positive sides of communication. These are their strengths. We should teach them to utilize them as strengths rather than discouraging them to utilize them. The next is clarity and focus. I come across 16-year-old who are very, very clear in their head. They want to be aeronautic engineers. And you ask them questions around it, they have answers for it. That's why they are Google generation. They know where they want to go. And if I will have teachers and parents telling me that every child is not the same, every child does not have clarity, but believe me, friends, 40% of, I told you, 40% of survey says that they are conscious about their career. That is because they have the exposure. And as we as kids go back to your class of 60 or 30 students, whatever you had, you will also find only 15, 20 students were very clear in their head what they wanted to do, and the rest were not. So let's not just tag this younger generation to be lacking focus because you have come across the other 60%. There are people who are extremely focused, extremely clear what they want to do because they have that exposure. And this comes with the kind of backgrounds they have lived in. This comes with the kind of influence that they have got. Because वो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना कि जैसे मटके का गढ़न होता है, मिट्टी से मटका बनता है, क्योंकि उसको कुम्हार वैसे मोल्ड करता है, वैसे ही पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स करते हैं, वैसे ही आसपास की चीजें बच्चों पे इन्फ्लुएंस करती है. हम जैसे उनको अपने जनरल स्टेटमेंट बार बार देते हैं, आप लेजी हैं, आप लेजी हैं, आप लेजी हैं, तो आप लेजी ही रहेंगे. ये जनरेशन ऐसी है, ये जनरेशन ऐसी है, ये जनरेशन, दे विल नॉट गिव अ डैम व्हाट यू टॉक, and then we want them to value us, whereas we are not able to create our own values for them. Then is knowledge, the know-how and interest. A very interesting example came across me that in a car there were two couples who were going, and one couple was little adult, must be in their late 40s. So their kids were kind of now grown up, and this couple was a very younger one, and the girl in they had a young girl, and she was some around 7 years old, and she asked her father while driving that, Papa, what is SOS? So the father was thinking and driving. Sorry. Meanwhile, the adult couple husband replied that, "Beta, SOS is something something, all right, fine, don't worry about it. So you're too small to know it and this and that." And that girl just took her mother's phone and she checked and she said, "Uncle, please don't give me all this nonsense, okay? SOS is save our souls, or in the older times it was save our shit." So this is the level of knowledge that they are gaining for the interest that they have. Right? They need to have that interest. And then the Google generation thing, which we will talk, and the value orientation. So how it helps me is the question that they have. You want me to go to a marriage? How it helps me? You want me to come and sit with the adults? How is it helping me? I will do something else in that time because they know the time is limited. So coming on to the first strength, communication, we spoke about, ma'am, you can go to the next slide. communication. There are no boundaries that they follow. They talk to people across the globe. They're extremely exposed and use their communication to your advantage. Teach them how communication helps. Okay. Uh, in our house, we have a method of whenever we are leaving from any destination coming to a house, we call each other. So I will either call the house or I'll call my husband and I'll tell I'm leaving from the office and I'll be home in a while. Nowadays, my son has started demanding, Mommy, you should call me and tell me that I'm coming home. Okay? So I'll tell everybody. I said, fine. So now I call him and I tell him. That gives him an immense sense of authority that I have been informed that I'm supposed to live. So this maybe today sound very childish, but tomorrow it will be something which he will also start doing. He will tell me when he's coming home, or he'll tell me somewhere he's going, which is very important today. We want to know. You know, a lot of adult parents say that we don't know where our child is. They don't tell us where they are going. Why? Because you have not set that example. You yourself have not told them where I'm going. I every time tell my son when I'm leaving, I'm going to an XYZ meeting, I'm going to this company, I'm going to do this today. So he knows that if my mother does something, I should also do the same thing. So this is the kind of education we need to give to our child. Right? And with that coming second is the communication examples which I was telling. So these are the examples. They have clarity, they think a lot, they have ideas which are beyond our imagination. I came across a very funny message which was talking about a girl who was gone for an interview of an ICSC school, and she was giving an interview, and the teacher said, uh, "Tell me a story." So she said, which story should I tell you? The one I write or the one I read? So the principal asked, do you write stories? So she said that, why should I not write stories? So the principal was so taken aback that the kind of thought process the child had. And when the story started unfolding, the principal said, you will not believe, madam, what kind of story that girl had. The girl had a story wherein it was about Ramayana, how Sita was abducted, and how Hanuman went, but with Hanuman went Spider-Man, and then because Spider-Man can fly faster, and then when Hanuman and Spider-Man rescued the places, then Sita told the Hulk should come. Why Hulk? Because Hulk is more powerful and he can pick up the whole Lanka and he can take it. Lanka was of gold. Why waste that gold? So see now, think about the ideas that kids get, and they have so much of clarity. It's a funny story of Ramayana, so people who are religious will feel a little offended. But look at the creativity, look at the thought that child has put behind it. So they are thinking, and I'm talking about a very small girl here. So this generation is no bad. This generation is an excellent generation. It is just we need to empower them with the right guidance. And some of you may have come across Sadhguru's certain videos. Sadhguru always says that child is a 20 years project if you do it successfully. Otherwise, it's a lifetime project. Right? So for a teacher, it's a 1 year project if successfully. Otherwise, the child is again there with them for the next year to be taught the same thing. But we need to look at them in a more positive manner rather than how what are the negatives. Because our generation, any teacher, even if 60-year-old teacher comes to me or a retired person comes to me, I will tell the same thing. Your generations also had problems. Our generation also had problems. This generation also has problems. Problems are going to be there. We have to see how we can accept those problems and find answer to the problem instead of saying it's a problem. And then only it will make more sense. So coming on to the next strength of our generation, younger one is knowledge. They know what they want to do. They know where to find the information. They're extremely knowledgeable. They have all the source of information they need. They have a lot of information with them that they are sometimes not able to handle, but they know where to find the information, right? And with that, the next line is about Google generation. So they have all answers available on Google. You ask them any question and then they know the answers if they like that particular subject. you Google has all the answers, and they have everything at fingertips. They use technology to their advantage. We as an adults fail to use technology as our advantage, but they know how to use it as their advantage. So this is a Google generation. We need to respect. At Google also there are people who are happy working. There are Google also people who are not happy working in spite of the best place declared to work. So let's accept them with their flaws and make them guide them as teachers that how they can enhance their life. These are their strengths. Don't take them away from them. Make them encourage them that how they should use it to their own advantage. And for that we need to first learn how to take advantage. And with that last challenge that I identify in this younger generation is that they are way too more aware of what they want. The clarity, the focus, that helps them to get to value. So they are self-reliant. They know where to find information. They're extremely professional when it comes to work. You will find the youngest child doing an extensively high earned business because they are so focused, so clear, they are so professional. They are unlike us who will get tangled in relationship issues, but they are very focused. They are very professional in their approach sometimes. That is because they know how to create a value. We sometimes as an adults fail to create our own values. As I mentioned, we get driven by our own perceptions, we get driven by our own experiences. We have our own neurological pathways that make us feel and think in a particular way, but they always work today in more value oriented methods. Now what value they should look for is something which we need to guide them. They should look for materialistic values, or they should look for relationship values, or they should look for happiness, or they should look for satisfaction. These are the value definitions that we need to inculcate. But their approach towards life in a value oriented method is really very good. That they are aware they have 24 hours and they have to live in this amount of hours a day. Now we can go to the next slide, and with that I'm coming. This we have done, and with that we are coming to the last two slides since we are also now about to finish our time. So we can move to the last slide. This next slide talks about just a slide before mine. Yeah. So the focus areas for parents and mentors, teachers, is what you hear will not take you further. So you as an adult, or you as a grandparent, or you as a teacher, whatever has got you here is not the same thing which will take this generation forward. In our grandparents' time, there were no telephones. In our time, telephones came. In our grandparents' time, there were no televisions. In our time, televisions came. Now, it's not about telephone and television. We will soon have people teleporting. So let's accept that what got us here is not going to take us forward. With that, we should not forget that the ratio of literacy has gone way beyond. Earlier, the percentage of Indian population, when we were 50 crore generation population, what level of literacy we had? When we were 100 crore, what level of literacy we had? And when we are 125 crore, what percentage of literacy we have? It has just kept going up and up and up. So we can't keep saying that our generations are not aware, they are not ambitious, they are not, they are complacent, they are laid back. No, we are giving them the right set of education. They are getting educated, they are learning. Earlier in a house, there were one or two educated people. Now in a house, there are one or two people who are not educated. So that's the transformation we have seen. So we need to break our stereotypes and believe what we don't want to create anymore, which are obsolete things. Sanskar are important, how to behave, what etiquette, what discipline, respect, everything is the top priority. But we tagging them, we keep telling them that you are a generation which is bad than us, then probably that's not the right thing to say, because they are not. They are yet to evolve, they are yet to bloom themselves because they are just in the bloomer stage. right? And educated yet unaware. So this generation definitely is educated. Their parents are definitely educated, but they are still unaware. They are still unaware of how to raise a child. They are still unaware how a mental thought process of a human works, how your normal statements work as command for the subconscious mind in the human. So these are all very unaware aspects that we miss to address as mentors, as parents, and we should take care of. And success is less important than life. When I say that, I'm not saying success is not important. I'm saying it is less important than life. I have seen people who run for perfection. I have seen people who want their kids to excel in their career, but they fail to make the child realize the smaller level of happiness. The happiness of eating a chocolate, the happiness of sitting in a train, the happiness of driving a car. These, these things are not something which are extraordinary, but the level of adrenaline that gives you is the level of happiness that a life wants you to live. So success is definitely important. We should teach our students to do hard work to get success, but we should tell them to enjoy the journey because eventually, for us, the destination is death. So we should make them realize that live this life happily, put all the effort happily so that you can live a good life. Happiness is the key, success is just an outcome. And empathy, as I have been constantly telling you, go back to your adulthood, take your class, how you were reacting, how you were feeling. Even sometimes my husband, he is a strict father, so he sometimes scolds my son, and I keep telling him, I we both used to study together in the same school as a class and all. So I used to say, I know you are one of the most mischievous student in the class. So stop telling your son that he is mischievous. He is your generation. He is your genetics. He is going to be mischievous. But try and divert that energy of mischievousness towards more productivity. That is something which you can do not by scolding them, not by disciplining them, but by making them realize about the consequences. That if you jump from second floor, your feet is going to be hurt. Don't jump is not something which you should tell. The moment you say don't, they are going to be curious to do it, right? And quality of time. We are a better valued generation is what I have heard a lot from people. We respect our adults better. That is all because the quality of time our adults have spent with us. The quality of discussion that they had with us. They, even if their discussions were about families, even if the discussions were about somebody's health, even if those discussions were about some religious talks, but there were conversations with parents. You as parents are definitely looking to earn more, to be more successful. As teachers, you are trying to do more as much as you can, but you are missing the heart of that conversation. That is the quality of time that you can give to them. And to that, I'll come on the last thing, the tips that you should, moving forward, keep in mind when you're talking about the younger generation. So the first tip is, what kind of a role model are you? Are you a good teacher? Are you a good friend so that the person will feel more comfortable to come and talk to you? What kind of an example have you set for yourself? That is the first question. What kind of a role model are you? And if you're not, just try to do it from today itself. Try to do more communication with them. Try to ask them their problems. Go one-to-one interaction. Just as a teacher going in the class, anybody has any doubts, nobody is going to stand up. There are shy students also. So you need to have one-to-one conversation. Personally, even if I am attending conferencing, I am such a public speaker, I never ask my questions in public. I will always take the speaker's contact number and I will speak to that speaker one to one. For two reasons. My reasons I'm also sharing. One reason, it helps me build a relationship with that speaker. And second, I sometimes feel my question may be foolish for somebody else, but I still want my foolish question to be answered. Right? So there may be students of the similar nature. conducive environment. Communication has to be conducive. Don't communicate to know their secrets. Try to communicate so that there is a healthy communication. They themselves come and tell you how they feel, what they like, what they don't like. Give them that area of space. Don't judge them based on what they are telling you. I'll tell you one thing. Earlier, as a small kid, kids will come and tell you everything what they did. ये किया, वो किया, आज ये खाया, वो टिफिन में ये ले आया था, वो ले आया था. And parents don't listen to them. हाँ 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 करते रहते हैं. They don't pay attention to them. And if the child out of the blue asks question, मम्मी तुमने सुना वो क्या लाया था? And you're like, okay, I probably was not attentive. If you can tell me again, right? So parents are not listening to them, and the same happens when they grow adult. You keep talking and they don't listen to you. So you need to give them that communication conduciveness so that they feel comfortable communicating with you. Communication is a very big key to know any kind of a human personality, and the second is knowing what kind of background they come from. So encourage research as learning method. As I said, ask them to use YouTube projects which can be driven more based on research so that they will use their technology at their advantage rather than using the technology for any kind of other source. Try to be young with the young. I'm not saying young with the young in terms of your outlook, but try to know what the younger generations are doing lately. Having an information of what the younger generation is up to helps you connect with them better. Try to know what kind of trends are going on. Try to know what kind of Instagram filters are there. So even in your casual conversations of education, you can just quote those. Try to know what kind of an advertisement is running currently about some chocolates or something which is more young oriented, and try to connect that with your education statements that you make, because that's how kids remember better when you connect it to something which they like. Right? Any movies, I generally try to show a video definitely in my sessions. Today I have not inculcated any video, but I love to connect the Bollywood or Hollywood movie scenes to our real life, at how they are pictured, how we don't see ourselves that way, but when we see that particular scene, we are able to connect. Okay, maybe I am also reacting the same way. So there are so many teacher student movies. There are so one of the scene I can probably quote here today is the scene from Three Idiots, wherein Professor Shastrabudhe was taught to find out the three words on the blackboard, which were more about that fellow Amir Khan's three friends, right? And people started just looking at the books like an stereotype. So we as a teacher need to come out of our stereotypes that we are into, and we need to connect with them as a young person. We need to know what are the new trends that they are learning from. There are podcasts, there are video casts, there are videos that students are learning from. So we need to try and be more that level young with them when we are talking about any subject relevance. That will help you connect with them the best. Then create value. Demanding is obsolete. So if you keep demanding, I am a teacher, so the person should respect me, it's all obsolete. If you don't create value for them, they are not going to respect you. It goes for all. It goes for parents, it goes for friends, it goes for an individual. Even in today's corporate and professional world, we always say respect is earned. It cannot be just asked. So we have to create the value if we want them to look at us as a value. Demanding is obsolete, and if we are expecting them, they are not an obsolete generation. We are just creating another obsolete generation because the way we thought is not the way they are thinking. So what got us here is not going to take us from here. So don't try to create obsolete generations. Look at them, teach them that respect. I will respect you, you respect me. I will do things that will value you, so you will value me. So you have to create that value for yourself. And root cause analysis. Ask those whys when you see any kind of problems. Why is that person behaving this way? Why is that person upset? Why is that person had a fight? Why is a very, very important question you should ask. And this all I'm not just saying as a teacher, it is very important in our lives as humans today, right? That we ask the question of why. which in the theoretical way I can say it's root cause analysis, analyzing the root cause of the problem. And the last is acceptance. Accept the kids as they are. Don't try to push to change them too much because then it will break. So accept it when you are having any kind of expectation. So with that, if anybody has any questions, they can always put it forward. Um, you can also let me know if you have any questions. I'm very much available on social media. I'm available on all the platforms. You can always say.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are running out of the time. So I think today's session is very much beneficial, not only for the teachers, even for the parents to decode the young mind, which is very important. Thank you so much for sparing time of your busy schedule. And my special thanks to the webinar team for forecasting our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.